in the current market is whenever you are going to drop a new product into the market, okay, this is something that, a product that you have created, you want to make sure it's pretty desirable. And not only is it desirable, it drives occupancy, because of course, remember, you want your occupancy to be high, but also you're driving higher rent. So I'll touch onto that in a sec, okay? So that's why we created the co-living revolution. And we've worked with many of the PIN masterminders, people on there, and we specialize in that more technical side of the spreadsheets, the analysis, the deal clinics, and everything else. So what HMOs have provided us is really a bit of a gap in the market there. Now, traditionally, the HMO market, 90% of the competition is pretty low quality. I'm in a lot of deal clinics. I see a lot of areas, whether that's Greater Manchester or places up, further up north or in the northeast, northwest, down on the south coast. And, you can pick any town or city. As Julian says, depends on the area. But most of the competition is low quality. Okay. There are some locations where there is, as they say, an oversupply of properties. But generally, 90% of the areas that I look at, most of the competition is low quality. Okay, that for me is a gap in the market. Okay, and what we tend to find is in any market, whether it's shoes, cars, anything else, you have budget and you have premium. Okay, you have budget products and then you have premium products. And the big difference for me is functional and emotional. Okay. If you go out and you look for an apartment or somewhere or a room that you want to live in, you want someone to look at the various properties that are available, and rather than a functional yes that will do, you want someone that really wants. It's an emotional decision. It's a bit like when people buy their own houses. It's an emotional decision. When people choose what place they want to rent, again, it's an emotional decision that's there. Okay, so let me just break into some of why that's important and how that kind of breaks down. So what we found, and certainly in the last 5 years, a massive change that we've seen in the market, okay, is that customer expectation and the standards of what we see in the market are starting to raise. Okay, now that is a good thing. It's a good thing for us as developers and landlords because we make more revenue. But equally, it's a great thing for the customer as well. Perfect for the customer because it's raising standards. And let's be honest, we all want standards to raise. So that's a really good thing. So there's a couple of key things I'm just going to pull out. Okay. Number one, you've probably noticed that the quality level has started to increase. Okay. So if you are going to be renting HMOs in the market, you've got to have high quality design. Okay, you've got to have high quality design as part of what you're doing. Okay, because and that's not just to get higher rent. Okay, you want a more superior product on market. So when you drop it on the market, you're going to drive more occupancy. You're going to drive more viewings. You're going to get a higher rent level in there, which is going to equate into a higher valuation as well. Okay, so it's a win-win. A superior product is a win-win in the market for you. And for me, strategically, it's mitigating risk. The other thing, private bathrooms. Now, I know that in the world of student HMOs, you might have a 5-bed HMO with 1 bathroom. Now that might be acceptable if you're a student and you get up at midday every day, but probably not so acceptable if you're a professional when everyone gets up ready to go to work in the morning. Okay, so private bathrooms, I know that we have to pay to put each private bathroom in, but strategically, is very important. Okay, strategically it's important because it provides that convenience for people renting. And also, again, because my team is involved in the management side of some of my portfolio, I get to see and hear about what people and the feedback from people based on rents and what they want and occupancy and everything. And the feedback is that the private bathroom rooms with private bathrooms, they are the first to go. They're always the first to go. The stuff that we call sticky rooms, the ones that take a little longer, they are almost certainly ones with shared bathrooms. Okay, so again, if you want to guarantee strategically the stuff that gets you the highest rents and the stuff that rents fastest over the competition, private bathrooms are going to do that for you. Okay, laundry facilities, again, very, very important. There was a survey recently Coho did where actually laundry was right at at the top. Laundry facilities, quality level of tumble dryers, washing machines, and the number of you that you've got. Business grade Wi-Fi. 100 megabits Wi-Fi is not going to cut the mustard in one of these HMOs. You're going to be talking 400 or 500 megabits minimum on a 6-bed HMO if you're doing that, okay? And you've got to have really good access points all over the building. The other thing we're seeing is the quality level throughout the actual building, okay? We're starting to see tenants and customers pay more. This is really important. Pay more for enhanced facilities that are in the room. Okay, so certain enhanced facilities that you might put in the room, that convenience factor that you put in there is going to be driving the higher rents. Okay, I'll be saying what's the difference between co-living and HMO? Well, traditional HMOs well, firstly, they didn't really have any focus on social spaces. They didn't have any focus on design. They certainly didn't have facilities. They didn't have high end. They weren't having hotel grade fit outs within them. So, and also the amenities. I mean, when you start thinking about en suites going in, the design factors, the comfort factors going in, plus some additional enhanced facilities in the rooms, you really are moving more to a somewhere between a hotel-esque part hotel and a HMO, somewhere between the two. So HMOs, we call them co-living HMOs. Co-living HMOs is really, in answer to your question, an evolution of the HMO. Okay, you've got to remember that HMO has been around for a long, long time in the UK. This is an evolution of the HMO. It's a more high-end product version of a HMO. Okay, which means that they're the high-end finish. Okay, these are driving high profit because they're driving higher rents because they're premium, and also high demand because, of course, we're creating a premium product in the market with more comfort, more self-containments. Okay, so Pip's just saying, what sort of enhanced amenities can you put in the room? You could put in more storage. We can have little workspace areas. We can have snack stations, tea stations, kitchenettes. We can upgrade some of the bed size as well. We've got bed sizes, bed mattresses. There's a lot of stuff we do in the hotels where we build all of this in. The other thing we can do, Pip, as well, there's one of my students at the moment, Pip, is also bundling a private lounge with one of the rooms. Okay. Oh, sorry, and fully furnished as well. Private lounge going bundled with your room. Okay. So again, these amenities are all part of what we're getting there. So this is just a little bit of a teaser of some of the projects that we have completed. These are down scattered along east and west Sussex across the south coast. Just gives you a little bit of a flavour of the kind of high-end product that we create. Now, before I jump into the next part of the presentation, I've actually written a book called The Co-Living Revolution. It's got over 100 images, diagrams, floor plans, everything in it. That is the full book. That's that QR code. If you haven't already got it, because I can't leave this slide up for too long, that QR code will give you the free copy of a full colour book that is on Amazon right now for £20. Okay, so if you want a copy, please do use that QR code. That is a full copy, PDF copy of the Co-Living Revolution book. Okay, so if you're interested in high-end HMOs, please do use that QR code now, because I can only have it on the screen because I need to finish the presentation. Okay, so I'm just going to move on from that. So a couple of key HMO strategies that I want to cover. Okay, so one of the key things is you've got to be able to identify and buy the right kind of buildings. And now the other thing I would also say is that take the sale price with a pinch of salt. Okay, take the sale price with a pinch of salt. I don't know anyone that's buying anything for the purchase price at the moment. Okay, so just assume that there is a negotiation period in anything you do. Okay, we then want to add value. We want to develop. Okay, Richie was talking about that in the presentation before. Okay, a lot of what I do is developer techniques. Okay, we use development techniques. We create that high quality product. We add in all the amenities, the facilities and everything else based on what is going to be the most desirable and what is going to rent for the highest figure as well. Okay, so strategically we are acquiring really good purchases. We don't overpay. We're developing buildings, residential and commercial, and then we're creating the high-end product. And finally, we are doing a refinance strategy And you've probably spotted the words in there. We use investment valuations strategically to guarantee our refinancing on the back end with very selected lenders where we know they work in the way we want them to work. Okay. So the reason we do that is because ultimately we want to be recycling funds. Okay, most people that I work with want to recycle money. Most people are uncomfortable with a certain amount of money left in the deal after you finish the deal. I totally get that. So you have to use more development techniques. Okay, you have to find better buildings with more added value that's going to allow you to recycle more money out of the deal. Okay, because of course, the better the project you find, that's going to allow you to recycle more out of it. Okay, now, a couple of things I just need to mention before we move on. Some of you, if you've never done a HMO before, you may cut your teeth on what's called a C4 HMO. That is up to 6 persons. Okay, now if you are not in an area of Article 4, you can crack on and do this with no planning permission, which is of course fantastic. If you've got a little bit more appetite, okay, to go a bit larger, okay, then you will be looking at the world of sui generis HMOs. Now, interestingly, I've found that a lot of my students have decided to do sui generis HMOs earlier on in their journey. And the reason for that is that a lot of people don't want to leave money in the deals. Okay, and they want more cash flow and they don't want as many properties. Okay, less properties and more cash flow. And so slowly going from cutting their teeth on maybe a 6-bed HMO, their next project may be a 7, 8 or a 9-bed HMO. Okay, a sui generis HMO where the cash flow is significantly higher, there's more ability to recycle funds. So the way that we convert this is firstly across 3 different types. We've got residential to HMO. These are standard residential houses, okay, houses and apartments where we can convert them. They're standard C3 residential. There's lots of opportunity to convert these. If you're not in Article 4, you've got fantastic permitted development, okay? We've got permitted development to convert in the loft, rear extension, side extension, and we've got permitted development, PD, to go up to 6 persons with no planning permission, assuming it's not Article 4, okay? If you are going to do a residential to HMO, I'd suggest you look at larger buildings, okay? Because the pokier ones, very difficult to get the en suites and all the other kind of amenities out there. And you'll get your highest rents from the buildings that are bigger. So we're really looking for the gems of the bigger buildings, okay? That leads me on to one of my favorite strategies, of which, to be honest, in my portfolio now, 80% of what I do is commercial conversions, okay? Commercial to HMO, okay? So unlike what Richie was talking about earlier on, I don't chop mine up and sell them. I hold them, chop them, or whatever I do to the building, and I hold them and I keep them, okay? Because I'm able to recycle a good chunk of my money out, if not all of my money out, okay? So I utilize permitted development, okay? That permitted development allows me to buy commercial buildings without any conditions, okay? I'm not buying them subject to planning or anything else. I'm using permitted development. I'm able to protect myself on the way in. I'm buying them unconditionally, okay? So I buy these buildings. I use my permitted developments. Because these buildings are commercial, we tend to find they are larger, much larger in their square meterage. So what you can do, what you can convert, or how you can adapt these buildings, there's a lot of opportunity in there. And I'm talking about stuff that's on the high street, okay? Any town or city, and I've seen commercial conversions all over the UK. So permitted development, very generous PDs that we can use there. I also layer it with full planning permission as well. And also, it's cheaper stamp duty. And we've got capital allowances, okay? As Kieran's saying, as long as there's ample light, absolutely. But strategically, Kieran, when we're looking at these kind of buildings, we are already clocking the window positions, the volume, the space we have, because what we want to do, Kieran, is we want to be able to get a really good, profitable scheme on permitted development before we do any enhanced planning, okay? Because what I like to do is I like to have a guaranteed in the bag permitted development scheme, and then I put a second planning scheme in that runs in tandem with my guaranteed scheme that's a more enhanced scheme. but I'm still willing to build out the PD scheme. Okay. And then, so you've got your commercial buildings, you've got your residential buildings, then you've got existing HMOs. Now, this is something that's very apt right now in the market because there is a lot of landlords in the market that are offloading some stock. I'm sure Simon has mentioned the opportunity of existing landlords that are selling off some of their stock in the market. Okay, that means you can identify some existing HMOs to upgrade. Okay, we're seeing that exodus of some of the landlords. I mean, with the Renters' Right Bill and everything else that's going on, of course, if they've made a load of equity in there and some of these buildings are unencumbered, they don't want to spend all this money to convert them. There's exiting landlords there. That means that we can negotiate some fantastic discounts there, or as I like to say, cheeky offers. So, I always have an opening cheeky offer that's on the table as part of that. But, there is some opportunity to negotiate some discounts because, of course, they'll get motivated very quickly. But we're only buying existing HMOs that we can add development uplift to. Okay, can we expand them? Can we upgrade them? Can we reconfigure them? Can we get more rooms out of them? Can we improve the product? Can we increase the rent roll? Can we increase the GDV, the end valuation? Can we recycle more funds? All of those numbers, okay, are all still relevant in there. Okay, so there's a huge opportunity in existing HMOs on how to do them. Okay. So I've got a few little case studies I'm going to run through. So the first case study is a C3 residential, which was a buy-to-let apartment into a co-living HMO. So this is a little before shot. Okay, it was the upper floor and a floor above. Okay, so it had actually ownership of 2 floors. It's in a big mansion in Brighton and Hove. We've got these kind of mansion blocks, if you like. Huge mansion blocks. So it's the top chunk of this. Okay, I already knew that it Renuka. So that's in Brighton and Hove, Renuka. So this one was one where I knew that I had the top 2 layers of the building. I reconfigured it as this one here. So this particular one, duplex. So Nix is saying duplex. So I guess it is a duplex, yes. So this was the property. We reconfigured it. Okay. We changed around layout. You got. I think this is a 5-person in this one. This is a smaller one. It's got a large social space area. Multiple cooking stations in there. You've got your breakfast bar space, which is built in. You've got the main kind of area, which is kind of the where all of the the storage. You've got the fridge freezers for everyone. Everyone's got a fridge. Everyone's got a freezer tray that's within there. This is just an example of one of the rooms, and you're only seeing half the rooms. All the rooms are probably about 10 to 13 square meters, something like that. But again, it gives you a little bit of a flavour for the kind of level of design there. Grace is just saying, can you please share more about the refurb process? The refurb process was a local team. I'd used them before. How had I heard about them? I asked around, asked my other developer friends for recommendations. I tested them on a small project and slowly kind of expanded from there. Also, the other thing, Grace, is I managed it by having a tendering pack and a schedule of works. Okay, so to cover all that detail. So this is the building converted to a 5-bed high-end HMO, purchased at 330,000. This building, okay. Refurbishment 85,000. End valuation was 600. Cash recycled was 56%. Okay, so 56% of my original money came out. Okay, gross rental 45. Profit after costs was here. Okay, that gives me a 26% return. Okay, so the reason I'm showing you this one first is not one of my best projects. But what it is, it's in one of the top 10 roads. Okay, so I think we can all agree it's in one of the top 10 roads in an area with explosive capital appreciation in the mix as well. Okay, so this was about how can I hold an asset in a prime location, but allow it to be cash flowing heavy enough that I can hold an asset in such a great location. Okay, so I have a lot of equity in this. I think I've probably got about £250,000 of equity actually in this. But of my original money, I think I've probably got about 70 odd thousand of my original money in here. Okay, which of course will just come out through refinancing and that. So that was one with a smaller ROI. Okay, but to me, that's still a fantastic project because, of course, location. Is this a leasehold? It's a share of freehold, Debbie. Share of freehold. Okay. Where is it, please? Sandy, it's down in, that's in Brighton and Hove. This is another one. This is a C3 residential. It's that building up there. You know, one where you can see my brown doors and my signature orange blinds are up on the top there. Now, interestingly, this one I bought pre-market. So again, something that I teach all my students is you've got on market and you've got pre-market. On market is where it's on the listing sites. It's on the software. You can see it everywhere on market. Pre-market is when the estate agent has been instructed, but it's not gone live. That's when I buy. I buy pre-market, not on market. And that's why you phone up and something's gone live and you go, I don't understand. How can it be sold? It's literally it's just popped up and it's sold. How can I phone up and it's sold? I must have been the first person to call. The reason is it was already sold pre-market. Okay, so I bought this one pre-market. It was a C3 residential 3-bed. This is what we converted into, about 22 square meters of main social space in this particular building. Fantastic location. Again, this was in location. Like I say, got about, this one is Central Hove, this one, where you've got soft seating, you've got your dining in there, storage for everyone. I mean, this was just from a little photo shoot we had. We had some of the tenants involved in this so that we could just demonstrate what it's like with actually people in there. So we got, this was an area where this was kind of on a busy road, but it's equally in a very, very popular area. So again, we looked at, well, what's the compromise location? So for this one, it was on a busy road. It had a dedicated co-working room. So, we do get some customers and tenants that work from home, and there's a dedicated room just for that. In the garden, we landscaped it. We didn't spend too much. We just did some light landscaping on how we do that. And we transformed the area at the back. We put additional seating at the back. We put dining space in it as well. And then the bedrooms, just to give you a little bit of a flavour of kind of the rooms. The rooms range from 11 square meters for the smallest one, up to the biggest being about 17. So this is not like pokey rooms. These are decent sized rooms. Okay, the rooms in this property are starting to head towards almost £1,000 a month rent. Okay, so these are good premium rooms in good decent location, and they've all got private en suites, by the way. Okay, they're large, they've got lots of storage, they've got private en suites in there as well. Some of them have enhanced facilities, not all of them. This is up in the loft as well with additional storage. So let's have a little look at the numbers. We purchased this one for 430. Okay. We refurbished it for about 145. Okay, I know that's not a 50 grand refurb. I totally understand that's a bit of a chunky refurb, but it's the GDV that really counts, the end value, 700,000. Okay, we recycled 90% of our original money. All the money we put in, we recycled 90% of it. Okay, that's giving us a profit of about 18,000 per annum, which works out about 1,500 per calendar month. Okay, 62% ROI on this one. Okay, so again, how many of those would you need? So down in the chat, guys, how many of those projects do you think you would need? Actually, I'm intrigued to see how many people would actually want of those. How many would you need of those? Oh, go 3, 5. Oh, who was it? Someone wrote 10 there. Who had the biggest appetite? Jeff wanted 15 of those. Straight in with a 15. Wehad wanted 10. Brilliant. 10 between two of us. Yeah. Oh no, Humero's jumped up forward for 20 now. Okay. Cool. So you don't need many of them to be able to do that. Okay. Now my last case study I'm going to share with you. Now this is a commercial conversion. So the level of complexity is going up now. Okay. This is a commercial conversion. Started life. It's on the high street. Commercial into mixed use. Okay. Now, not for the light-hearted, those pictures show you quite how bad it was. It was really bad. Okay. We did have to rebuild certain little bits of it. We had to completely transform it. I'll show you the numbers in a minute, but we did a lot of work on this one. And then we transformed it into a high-end HMO. So this is one of the main social spaces that was within there. So this was the first social space that was part of it. This is the second social space as well. Area. This is down. This is further down into into East Sussex, further down the coast. And then you've got also some dining spaces as well. Complete rundown. It was completely run down, Nick. Yeah, this is where the money you can make. Absolutely, Nick. Not a lot of people had the appetite for this building. It was pretty run down. But this is just showing you the quality level of some of the rooms that we did there. Okay. Grace is saying, who's your target client profile? Our target client profile is working professionals, Grace. Not We're not doing students, Grace. We're just doing working professionals. Basically, I like to think of it as me before kids. When you've got a decent job, you're not quite ready to go and live in a one-bed flat and live on your own. You want that social aspect, but you want a high-quality product as part of it. Okay, so let's have a look at some numbers. I know you want to look through these. So we purchased at 190. Now we did spend a refurbishment of 225, but again, it's all about the end valuation, 650,000. We recycled all of our money back out, okay, because it was a higher risk commercial conversion, okay. Gross income 60,000. Profit after all costs is 18,000, giving 1,500 per calendar month. ROI on cash left in is infinite because on this particular project, I think I got all of my money back out plus about 70,000 pounds. Okay, so that again, that would make you hit that target. Okay, what's the cap rate? Exactly. So Jeff's saying this is the exact strategy I'm looking to get into. Fantastic. So Jeff, if you hold on to the end, I'm doing a webinar next week off the back of this, where you will be able. I can talk through the commercial and residential, the best deals that we've seen in the last year. Okay. So yeah, what we've seen is co-living HMOs outperform traditional HMOs by 20 to 30%. Okay, so 20 to 30%. So a huge uplift we're getting on just the vanilla stuff that's out there. Okay, so if you're creating a high quality, high end HMO, you are going to be outperforming other HMOs by 20 to 30% in the market. Okay, doesn't matter whether you're in a high-end market. Sorry, it doesn't matter whether you're in a white collar, blue collar, cheaper area, more expensive area. We generally see 20 to 30% above general market. Okay, so co-living HMOs are going to allow you to drive higher rents. They're going to allow you to drive higher demand because people want a more superior product. Okay, they want the higher occupancy that's in there. Okay, because you don't want gaps in your occupancy. The whole point is you want to increase the occupancy. Premium product can help you do that. And finally, probably one of the most important for you guys as a developer is higher valuations. Okay, you want to know how you recycle more money out. You've got to create more premium buildings. And again, it's just understanding how you can increase the gross income of the building, which then has effect on the net income, which has an effect on your valuation, which means you're able to recycle more of your original money back out of the deal. So these projects are all about maximizing your cash flow. Okay, so if any of you here today are thinking about replacing your income with cash flow, you want to leave less money in the deals. Okay, you want to create something that's high end, that's in the market, and you want to maximize that cash flow that's there. Well, we've got a little bit of a free webinar that we're doing next week with PIN. Here we go. So look at that. Pippa has just dropped the link straight into the chat for you guys. So as I mentioned to you before, and actually this is to Hamish as well. You just asked a couple of questions in there as well. Next week, when I do this webinar, I'm going to talk through some of mine and my students' best deals. What are in the last year? What are the best commercial and residential deals, and how did people get them over the line? Okay, because I'm in a lot of deal clinics, so I can talk you through some of the best residential and commercial deals that we've seen in the last 12 months and how you are able to create similar things for yourself. Okay, so Katie, how are we doing for time?
We have got a couple of minutes. Obviously, we started a tiny bit late, so I will get a few questions over the line. Grace has asked how you source your construction team and what sort of issues and wins you've had with this.
Well, I mean, you've got to learn how to create schedules of work and tendering packs. I think you've got to get very comfortable quite quickly, because if you're going to fall out with your builder, it'll be because you don't have a decent specification together. So one of my top bits of advice I would say is, if you've got to get good at creating tendering packs and creating schedules of work. That would allow you to be able to go out and tender and get recommendations. Okay, one of the best ways to get recommendations is other trades. Okay, I guarantee you, every plumber and electrician works with a whole load of other builders. Okay, so if you really struggle, you're in a new area, you don't know anyone there, then start to network through other trades and word of mouth.
Amazing. And just one more question from Amanda. Where do you advertise for tenants?
Mainly Spare Room. I mean, I know that you can go off Facebook and some of the other channels and everything else, but to be honest, we ensure pretty much full occupancy most of pretty much. I mean, the only time we have a drop in our occupancy is where someone says, it's available from this date, but I can move in a week later. So that's an occupancy gap where we've got a great tenant, they've paid for it, but they're out by 1 week. So really, we've found that using Spare Room and having a premium product in market, we haven't ever really needed to have to then put layers of Facebook and all the other stuff on it as well.
Amazing. We got lots of people saying this is the tastiest strategy that they've seen so far today, and they're very.
I've never heard it called that before. Tastiest.
No, neither. But well, look, share it. I like that one.
Exactly. Look, if like I say, next week, next Tuesday evening, we'll be talking through some of the best examples of the stuff in the last 12 months that people have managed to get over the line.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Stuart, for joining us. People are very, very excited about this, and I'm sure you've got lots of sign-ups to this webinar. Make sure that you jump on that, and if you've got any questions that have gone unanswered, I'm sure Stuart will be able to answer some questions on that as well.
Fantastic. Been an absolute pleasure. Really great to see you again, Casey.
And you. Have a great weekend, Stuart.
And you. Bye.
Bye. So, guys, just to run through the final agenda for today. Next up, we've